Okay, good morning, everyone. Just to reiterate, this session is being recorded. And thanks for joining this reflection on the book Nonviolent Communication. I don't intend to have a one-way a session. I look forward to it as a conversation and discussion. And I myself am a learner of nonviolent communication. So an active engagement will only enrich learning for all of us. So just to give a quick background on what we are referring here. So this is nonviolent communication from Marshall B. Rosenberg, and he started with this concept pretty early in his life while he was very young, when he encountered a violent in his neighborhood, and he started thinking on how can we have a communication which is compassionate, which is serving the purpose of life, as he call it, in any condition. And he has been part of not only the corporate culture, the academic, he has actually been part of having this concept being practiced in very, very hostile conditions across the world. So that's a quick introduction about the nonviolent communication, the book for which we are doing reflection, and the author. Now let's move forward. A quote which I came across: "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." So then, is the communication could really be violent? What do we think? Or it needs to be stones and sticks only to make it violent? What are the thoughts?
Hi, can I come in? This is
Hi,
Uday.
Uday. Hi, Uday. Sure.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning. So communication has to be both ways. It is always needs to be both ways, because I feel personally, if it is one-sided, then you're stuck. There's something which is on the other side. Somebody is thinking, somebody is hiding something, somebody has an agenda maybe, or somebody is non-communicative. It has to be both ways. It has to be non-violent, whatever the situation be. You need to be in the present moment. It has to be calm. You need to listen to this, understand the situation, weigh the pros and cons, take control of the situation and handle it. Is something what my thought would.
And what about can the communication be violent today? What are your thoughts?
No,
on
not
that?
necessarily. No. If I may be summing up my life, I'm 54 years old, working for generation entrepreneur. About this is the 40th year what I'm working. I've come across various situations. I have worked in emergencies and disasters where people are suffering, people are hurt, people are displaced, they are aggressive, and you need to be calm, quiet. You have to handle the situation. It has to be non-violent. Otherwise, you can imagine what would happen when I go in floods, disasters. I can understand. I need to understand their situation. They have lost their livelihood. They have lost their livestock. They have lost everything. And they are looking at me for support. So many times I've been in that situation. So yeah, it has to be non-violent, for sure.
Sure. Thanks for that. Renu, Suresh, what are your thoughts? So first off, can communication itself be violent? I mean, it's just words, right?
If you go back to the cover slide, your first slide, and you see what Marshall says there, NVC shows us a way of being very honest, without any criticism, insults, or put downs, and without any intellectual diagnosis implying wrongness. One has to be extremely self-aware and mindful to be able to have that kind of a communication, which he is defining as nonviolent communication. Yeah. Any intellectual diagnosis that implies wrongness in our normal communication, which just happens spontaneously, it can happen, especially if you're talking to a junior, if you're talking to a child, if you're talking to your spouse, if you're talking to someone who has that kind of a personal or work stakeholder relationship with you. chances are that I might be saying something that I feel needs to get corrected, changed, or not done in a particular way, etc. And to be able to give that feedback without intellectual diagnosis implying wrongness, to me, is a very nice definition of nonviolent communication. It kind of hits the nail on the head.
Absolutely. And you caught that spot on, Suresh, because that's what we would be elaborating in this session exactly. How do we do it?
Yeah, how do we do it? Exactly.
Touch the surface. Yeah, we touch the surface. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we do need to get into the how part.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Good. Renu, anything from your side before we move forward?
I think I'll add on as we move. I'll
Sure.
just share. Yeah.
So then a quick introduction about myself. Who doesn't know me? I am Abhidya Associate Coach, and I would like to thank Abhidya for providing us this platform, and Akanksha, thanks for you to for enabling this session month after month. Thanks a lot to Abhidya and Akanksha. And a quick introduction about me. While I'm a business agility consultant and coach, I'm on my way for ACC, ICF ACC. I've already been level 1 certified and Abhyudaya associate coach. I'm a learner of nonviolent communication. So there's no way I'm implying that I know nonviolent and I can teach it to others. That's not the purpose of this session. I am myself a learner. I'm a beginner. I just want to learn. I just want to share my learning so far and learn from all of you also. And I'm also so we can be supporting member of Center for Non-Violent Communication also, just to enforce my seriousness of becoming learner of NVC. I've enrolled as a supporting member for Center for Non-Violent Communication also. So that's quick introduction about myself. Okay, so what makes communication violent? Any thoughts? What components of communication make it violent? I can start with one. Judging could be one. If I'm judging someone, that could make someone feel hurt. What else it could be? If any one of you is speaking, you're on mute, please unmute yourself. Or I'll go ahead otherwise. So judging, it could be bullying, right? It makes violent. The biases we have, the blame we do, the finger pointing, the discriminating, speaking without listening. While that might not seem violent, it could be pretty violent to other person. Criticizing, and the violence may not be only to other person. We could be violent to self also in our communication. Do we agree?
Yeah.
How often do we feel hurt with what we are telling ourselves?
Self one always works.
Absolutely. Name calling, reacting when angry, and judging who is good and bad and what's right and wrong. And that's again relating to the first page. Deciding morally what's right and wrong. All of these, and there could be more apart from this, which makes a communication violent, which make it hurting for self also and for the others also. So then what's the impact of violent communication? Fine, we discussed these are something which make it violent, but what's the impact of it? Will anyone want to start with? What do you think happens to self and others when we talk in our communication, which has those components of violence in it? What's the impact of it? we feel
Oh,
hurt.
yeah.
It completely destroys the whole environment where you're working, be it even if it is in your house, at your workplace. I mean, wherever you are, if it starts with that tone. If you set the tone, which is completely, harsh, you may use the word or violent or the whatever word you want to use there. If it is not understood, it is not, what I would say, thoughtful. I mean, you can imagine what's happening. A situation which was going to be remaining calm is now going to change immediately. Be it, as I said, your workplace. I mean, I always say a human being spends about what 24 hours. There are 24 hours for a human being. 8 to 12 hours is going to spend at workplace. Remaining at home, you can imagine how communication is important. I mean, your work stress reflects at home, your home stress reflects at your work, and it's all about communication.
Yeah, when Uday was giving that, saying that, I remembered a live situation that happened just 2-3 days back. Can I give you that example?
Sure.
Suresh.
One of my senior trainer friends, he's about 75 years old. He's been in the industry for so long. He still does a lot of training, and he's a mentor. He's not a certified coach, but he knows about coaching. He's a mentor, and he has mentored me as well. He wanted to meet a cardiologist because of some recent issues. He has a history, not too bad, but he wanted to have a cardiologist to consult. And he had gone to a couple of them, and they were either rude or arrogant or anything. Like, he said, I want somebody nice who can listen to me and I can be comfortable with. So I said, my classmate is a cardiologist, and he's pretty well experienced and all that. Can I refer you to him? So he said, okay, I'll think about it. I have a couple of other references. A few weeks later, he came back to me and said, can you introduce me? I introduced him. I spoke to my classmate and said, this is a very dear friend. I know him for a very long time, 30, 40 years. He's been a mentor to me and to my wife as well. And so please take care. He said, yeah, no problem. I'll take care and all that. So I know that my friend is, very focused on each of his patients, no doubt. He gives them quality time, irrespective of who they are and so on. And especially if there's a connection like this, he will take care. So I connected them. They were supposed to have their first meeting, consultation 3 days back. So when my friend, the trainer, called him, he told him the location and told him, you come there by 3:45. He said, I don't know the location. He said, you just check Google Maps, but make sure you're there by 3:45. So he was there at 3:45. The doctor had not yet come. Then the doctor came in half an hour later. And around the same time, there was an earlier patient also who came for a review. So the doctor told my friend, this will just take a few minutes. Can I finish this review so that I can concentrate on your case? And it's an old case. So he has about a 49-page report also that has to be gone through. So it will take time. Went in, the few minutes became an hour. And my friend asked the receptionist, can you just check? I've been waiting for 1.5 hours now. So as soon as she went and checked, these people came out. And then when he went in, the first thing he told the doctor is, doctor, I've been waiting for 1.5 hours. So I don't know what mode my friend was in. He said, yeah, it took a little bit of time, but I'll take the same time with you. Then what do I tell other patients? Then after that, my friend repeated saying, yeah, but 1.5 hours I've been waiting. Then my friend said, okay, if you're not happy, you can leave. My friend folded the file, got up and left. Later on in the evening, he told me, can you call me? And then when he called me, before that, my doctor friend called me and said, hey, this is what happened. His version. Then my friend later on called me and said, hey, this is what happened. The versions are not very different, except that when the doctor explained, the doctor said exactly what I just said. I spend quality time with each of my patients. Sometimes the 10 minutes can take an hour. But then people ask a lot of questions. It's about cardiology and so on. When my trainer friend called me, what did he tell me? He said, I'm a senior citizen. As it is, I was waiting for half an hour. 1.5 hours it became. There was no information. But as per my doctor friend, he said, he's my classmate. He said, I told him that I will this thing. And then when he came in, I told him, sorry, it took, an hour. It took some time, etc. Each one from that point of view is right. And as a neutral person, knowing both of them and both of them being very close to me, I know that both have their faults. At the same time, both I can't say is guilty also of something. But what could be different in this situation for the two of them to have become a doctor and a patient with a good relationship? What could have been different? If I were to analyze that, I tried telling my senior mentor, trainer friend, who actually incidentally is a trainer in emotional competence. I tried telling him, I've also waited for very long hours to meet doctors. He said, I also waited much more than you. I said, I agree. So what was different? What could be different? We didn't speak after that. Hopefully he has also slept over it and thought through it a bit, because he's always in learning mode as well.
Yeah.
But
Suresh,
what do you think could have been different for them to have a good doctor-patient relationship and to continue the consultation, which is a need of the patient? And the doctor is there ready to provide that, especially because he has come through a classmate. He's literally my chaddi dost. We studied 10 years in school together. Yeah, sorry, Renu.
Suresh, I don't know how come I experienced the same thing yesterday. Okay. I had an appointment with my dentist, right? It was 6 o'clock. Okay. When I reached, doctor wasn't there, right? And then again, one lady, she was sitting already there before us. Mine was number 1, right? But she was there. So again, it happened the same thing. Unhone bola, doctor aaya, unhone bola, okay, 15 minutes, bas, unko dekhenge, and then what happened is ki 15 ka 30 minutes, 30 ka 45 minutes, the same story. I was just thinking ki ऐसा immediately कि कल ही तो मेरे साथ हुआ. But then again, when I entered, even I said, sir, हर बार हमारे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों होता है कि I didn't say you have done something wrong. I said, sir, that I have experienced that it always happens with me and my daughter. Whenever we have our appointment, we have to wait for around 45 minutes to 1 hour. So he said, ma'am, I understand. But then in this medicine profession, in the medical profession, you cannot be inhuman. Okay. And we can't work like machines. This is how he explained his side of work. And he said that at times it happens that I start with something, it takes 15, I know it would be 15 minutes, but it may get extended to 15 minutes more. So the way he explained, and then I also said, yeah, I agree to this, that it may happen like, and he said, ये जो lady आई ना, इन्होंने phone कर करके बोला कि मुझे तो इतना pain है, I can't even have my food. तो अब क्या करें? अब उनको मैंने बोला आप आ जाइए, I'll see. But when she was there on the chair, तो he says कि ऐसा कुछ था नहीं. But the patient made it like कि ओहो पता ही नहीं क्या हो गया है. But then the way he explained, then we cannot be machines in this field, sir. Ma'am, तो हमको वो करना पड़ेगा. I said, okay. So we know that even at times with us also, it might take 15 से 1 घंटा. So it was all very well settled. So this is, as you said, no, what different. So my understanding and he explaining his end of it, so that was clear. So I said, okay, then we got it done.
So a little more of this episode. As per my doctor friend, when the patient walked in, he pointed to his watch like this, doctor, I've been waiting for 1.5 hours. Okay. This is according to my doctor friend. And when my mentor, trainer friend spoke to me, he said, I asked him, so why wouldn't you go again? He was very arrogant and rude. And I do not want that kind of toxicity. So what one person feels as toxicity, another person may not feel, maybe. I may not feel, maybe. But he said that. I cannot question that. So what could have been different? And even if I relate it with your experience, Renu, and how you put it forward to the doctor, but you had a conversation. Your opening statement was a conversation starter. It was not a conversation stopper.
Yeah.
In
Two-way
my
communication.
yeah, in my view,
Very important.
correct. My trainer friend walked in literally with a statement that can stop a communication. It literally increases the cortisol in the other person's brain.
Absolutely.
And then literally it builds a wall. He doesn't even know him from Adam. He doesn't know his type, his style, his behavior, his attitude. He just knows that, okay, he's a good doctor from me. Doctor, I've been waiting for 1.5 hours. It's like I'm putting a blame on you. And the moment that is said, immediately a wall is built up.
Yeah.
So when Uday was saying that, what you say, the word or the statement that you make in the beginning can set the tone for the remaining part. If the remaining part happens, is absolutely true.
Thanks for sharing, both of you, that experience, this doctor experience. Quite a number of time I've gone through, and I absolutely endorse that one single word. If it is not both-way communication, it can turn sour. The best of the communications have gone wrong. And, somewhere down the line, the doctor is not wrong, the patient is not wrong. It's all about that nanoseconds resilience. And I feel I'm not as experienced as all of you over here, maybe, or maybe not, I do not know. But I think I have no hitch in saying the world is losing that whole thing. We are just talking and talking in the meetings. A lot of trainings are happening. We go to Harvard's, we go to Stanford's or IIM's. We enjoy that 10 days, 15 days. We are out and we are back to the same thing. Is it because of the situation? Is it because of people not wanting to change? Nobody wants. Everybody wants. ये अभी मुझे चाहिए. सर कहाँ से देंगे? नहीं वो काम करो, ऐसे करो, वैसे करो ये. अरे सर आप सोचिए क्या मतलब? What is that you want? Can we understand? We don't have patience. Well, we ask questions. So why is it necessary at this immediate nanosecond? No, the chairman is asking. Well, no, the prime minister is asking. Well, fair. If the prime minister or the God is asking, whosoever it is, can we buy some time? We talk of working in teams. We talk of working I teach in colleges expectations. I work with corporate world. I work in disasters. These all experiences brings me to a simple one statement. What's happening in this world? We are changing. We talk of meditation, we talk of yoga, but we do not want to put it into the practice. That I comes in, that I, the ego. If I may say so, it doesn't mean I'm not generalizing. I'm just wanting to share a point or a thought, because I think this is a forum where I'm learning from all of you, and that is really going to be important. But just wanting to share some bit of what I'm seeing or watching.
Yeah, sure. So let's see how non-violent communication can make a difference. Let's see. And I was just thinking about it, when Reno, Suresh, you were sharing your experience and what happened with your friends and known people, right? And I think simple thing like speaking without listening. And if we reflect back to what we are taught on the path to ICF, being present, actively listening. So even if I'm not actively listening, I'm not there, I would respond in a way which might not be taken very well by the others. And that simple thing can cause all of these confusion and stoppage of communication, to call it. So it is complex. There could be 100 things out of that, and I think one thing could trigger it. Absolutely. So coming back to what's the impact of violent communication? Hurt, pain, we respond reactively. And I think once we do it, then it's a spiral thing. It's difficult to stop it.
Chetan,
Yeah.
Then if we say reactive response, I think response means that we have thought about it and then we do it. But when we are reactive means it is the kind of what my understanding is. I don't know, maybe. So is that okay, or?
I don't know the English, the reactive response. Yeah.
Acha, acha.
Maybe, I don't know. So you're saying only reaction could be fine. We don't need reactive response become like a oxymoron, Renu, right?
Response is like when we give a thought to it and
Ah.
then we take. Yeah.
Could be, could be. So, and then how do we respond back? We defend, right? So if someone, we feel that we are in a violent communication, we defend, we withdraw, we attack back, and we resist, right? Anything else what we do? And maybe we walk out of the doctor room, in a worst case, right? We just walk out and withdraw. I think it's the same thing.
But if we assertively, means in a way that, okay, we understand and then we respond, I think that is also one way, like how we can do it.
So if we are getting there, so then how do we make all this communication more human? How do we remove that component of violence, which could be anything, which could be just not listening actively and responding in a way which could be perceived as a violent by other person, or maybe to myself also, not only others, right? I mean, self-talks could be pretty violent. So then what do we need to focus on? What do we need to train for to get there?
First of all, we should be, I think what I feel is that we should be conscious about, and I think it doesn't come in one, it's like practicing, right? You have to be conscious and you have to be practicing it. Like for me, if I talk about my teaching journey, so it has been like a part of me, I would say, because you experience different situations when you are with students or when you are in a school and all that. So I think there, being more human is like more that that I think it should be like, because you are with students and I don't know, with students, I think this happened with me very, very, very naturally. And so being conscious of the situation where I am, being conscious of, okay, what kind of words, let me give a pause, think about it, what words I'm using for expressing what I want to say. So these are some of the things that I feel.
So that also brings me to the point, adding to what ma'am was saying. I too teach, and these days in the last last 9 years, what I've been teaching, immense patience is required. You need to be focused. You need to bring back the students to the topic, because getting dragged over here and there, sir ye nahi hai, bas ho gaya, bahut padha liya, aaj abhi bore ho raha hai, aur kuch padhenge. I mean, all these examples keep coming from them, and then you got to keep them bringing back and tell them, okay, fine, 1 hour session, 50 minutes teaching, 10 minutes of time pass. Let's focus. Communication. Again, students coming in, going out any moment. Sir, ye hai, wo hai, ye submission hai, aisa hai, vaisa hai. So you got to be patient with them. Well, let's do one thing. Let's focus on learning for some time and then go and do your submissions. Various examples keep coming in life there with the students. But I think with time, students have helped me to become more and more, what I would say, developing patience in me more.
And as a teacher, I think being whom they can look up to, I think that is also something really that makes you very grounded, and it becomes a part of you. It's not something that we are that I'm actually intentionally doing it, but it becomes a part of you as a teacher. I think that is what I have experienced with me. Yeah,
agree. Because I go back to the, and I'm sure all of us are, we have studied in 90s, and that time the teachers were like, ye aisa hoga, khatam. There was no question of, there was not a single opportunity to ask a question. Yehi tarike. I thought it was a Hitler system. Maybe not. We were never allowed to laugh. Maybe my situation was that bad, and that is what brought me to teaching. No, teaching has to be both ways. It has to be fun. It has to be interactive. It has to be immersive. And if at all also the students are not interested, make it interesting. So that, I remember, a lot of times 50 के students में 10 आ रहे हैं, 8 आ रहे हैं, 10 आ रहे हैं, फिर ये 10 बच्चे दूसरों को बोल रहे हैं, नहीं सर मस्त है यार, टाइम पास करते रहते हैं, थोड़ा पढ़ाते भी है, तो 15 स्टूडेंट्स आ रहे हैं, फिर 25, फिर 30. Two-way communication, make it interesting. Otherwise, the world is not interested, I have started feeling. People have started losing patience. Pata nahi kyun. But.
And I think what Renu, you and Uday said, Renu, you said about continuous training, right? And if you look at this quote from the book, an ongoing reminders, it's again about the practice. It's not going to happen. So so what I picked up from here is the one thing is the ongoing reminder, the training, the evolving of all of us, right? And then keeping the focus. And I think what Uday, you also touch upon, the focus is the learning. It's not about, disciplining may be the part of it, but focus is learning, right? And so it's the focus where we are more likely to get what we are seeking. I think I found this very relevant. I mean, I think if you look at the picture also, the focus is not all the crowd which is sitting behind. It's not about the hooting which is happening. The focus is on the goal, and you need a lot of practice to do it.
And that's exactly what I think is relevant in my example of the doctor and the patient. If the patient were to focus, what did he really want? If I go back and remember the discussions he and I had about this cardiologist, what did he really want? He wanted a cardiologist who he can chat with, talk to, and who would listen to him and answer his questions with patience. That is this guy that I know. If he had focused on that, he would have made his own entry smoother.
Yeah.
In his mind, he had all those really toxic cardiologists whom he has met before, who don't have time, who don't know him, who put the blame on him. One cardiologist said, take this medicine. Another one said, why did you take this medicine? So he has a second one, who do I trust? You're saying, don't take. The other ones earlier said, take this medicine. Who do I trust? And all those kinds of. So he had probably had that in his mind already when he met the third one, my friend. So if he had focused on exactly this, the place where he's likely to get what he's seeking, based on my input, maybe he would have, in spite of that, waiting for 1.5 hours, he would get lifelong friend. This is one person who actually texts his patients and tells them what to do and actually has a very good rapport. Anybody else, in my experience, you have to go through the secretary. You only meet them when you meet them. You can't have offline chats with them.
The trust factor. The people are losing that trust factor. That importance.
Yeah, so based on the prior experiences, they tend that kind of dictates how they behave.
Right. But the fact is, sir, you recommending and despite that this happening itself is this thing, because that is again where your closeness, your respect towards this senior mentor of yours, and you recommending both sides and yet not realizing unfortunately this happening is itself a learning here.
And what is interesting is he is a trainer and teacher and mentor of emotional competence and how to build relationships and all that. Inadvertently, it happened to him itself.
Ongoing reminder, right? That's also the key here.
Yeah, and with so many years of experience. So I'm just thinking, I mean, probably, I don't know, when we reach that age, it might happen to us. I don't know. But it's a reminder to us how much more self-aware and mindful we should become about the end goal. Exactly what you put here. What is it that I really want? What will take me there?
Correct.
Therefore, what words should I choose?
Yeah. What is my end objective? I want a good consultant. I want a good opinion. An opinion where I should be able to trust and rely upon.
And I want a cardiologist who will become my friend. This was that guy.
Correct.
This was that guy. I don't know anybody else who can become, any other cardiologist who can become this.
Correct. Because
this guy is like that.
True. I mean, I can relate to this point of yours, because you really need to be the friend, whosoever it is, your chartered accountant, your lawyer, your pharmacist, whosoever it is. I mean, Mumbai mein to I had one hair cutting fellow for 32 years. He was a friend. You develop that relations that you don't need to go somewhere else. Then you can rely upon, you can talk to them any moment and say, hey, Sureshji, I have a problem. Well, that is the way it has to be, rather than we keep jumping. And then you're not going to get a good solution anyway.
So they always say that in order to build collaborative relationships at work, you've got to know your work stakeholders a bit more than just work.
Correct.
And
That's
build your
true.
rapport, whether it's an educational institution, whether it's a corporate, wherever you are. You need to know them a little more than just the work relationship. When you know them only with the work relationship, you see them with a particular mask. But when you get to know them beyond a bit more deeper, you see the real person behind that mask.
Absolutely.
And that changes the way you communicate.
Yes. And it works, sir. Even in the corporate world, me being in supply chain, in a lot of situations in this COVID times, I have got things done only on the relations, where the people have said, sir, aap bol rahe ho, mere paas abhi capacity nahi hai, but I will do something for you. We will find a solution. Let's do something like this. Can I do like that? I was telling these companies, look, when you called up, what did he say? Nothing for next 3 months. And now what is his word? I will find a solution. Sir, will he overcharge? I said, hold on, don't jump your horses. Has he sent a new quotation to you? The situation now has changed for you. He's willing to supply. And your company, which was going to stop production, there is a hope. Look at the positive angle. Let him send the quotation, evaluate, discuss, negotiate, find a solution in between, start working, get your production. Don't.
So sorry, Ore.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Sorry,
No,
Chetan, we are hijacking your agenda.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, this is what we need, right? This is what the session is all about. So let's see what is the focus in nonviolent communication. The components of nonviolent. The first one is observe what is happening, and that itself will. We have been talking about pause, right? When we observe, take a pause, that pause automatically happens. So first one is observe what is happening. Second is then state how we feel. So it's about how I am feeling. It's not about judging other. It's not about labeling. It's about I am feeling. Then say what need of me is getting impacted by the feeling I'm having. And then request an action. So this is, Suresh, that 4 levels step from NVC, which you were also referring earlier.
Right.
And this is the crux of the whole book. What we would be focusing today is just the observed part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go ahead, one thing which I would like to share. So yesterday's conversation, after my daughter got the jo bhi treatment tha ho gaya, and when we left from there, doctor says, I'll try that ye jo aapka thought hai, ya ye jo bhi chain bana hai, that will be broken in the next visit that we have. So I think that request was taken care of, and I think he gave me this assurance ki next time whenever you'll come, ma'am, I'll see to it and I'll try that this won't happen. So just a completion of that, these 4 steps that I observed, I shared with him what I felt and what need that was not fulfilled, because I have been waiting for so long, but why did it happen to me only always? And then conclusion, when we left from there, he gave me that assurance ki ma'am, aisa nahi hoga, don't worry about that. So this is how the conversation took up, and I think it has got registered with him now in his mind that okay, next time he'll just take care of it. So that is how.
So incidentally, my trainer friend knows about this, and he also teaches this. When he is relatively calmer, probably he is by now, I need to remind him about this and tell him you should have used the 4 steps of nonviolent communication when you wanted to give that feedback.
True.
Yeah. So now focusing on observing, do we observe without evaluation? So what is our observation looking at this picture?
I guess too much of information, too much of learning, human beings have started having that notion and evaluation even before anything happens. अरे ये तो ऐसा लग रहा है, ये तो खड़ूस लग रहा है. अरे मैंने बोला बैठो यार, कहाँ दौड़ रहे हो? हाँ, अरे वो आपसे बात भी नहीं हुआ. नहीं, ये लोग से बात करना फिजूल है. क्यों? They are too big. I will not take the name of this corporate companies, the two-way dealing. सर इनके पास जाने में कोई फायदा नहीं है. फायदा? अरे भाई हमको जरूरत है. Where are you evaluating even before anything is happening? And what's wrong in getting associated with this big name? In your company's website, you can say, we work with this ABC. So human beings, I guess, this no too much. Are we overloaded? Is one open question. हम लोग doctor, chartered accountant, lawyer, pharmacist, trainer, nutritionist, हम लोग सब कुछ है. Human beings have become, because what मैंने यहाँ पढ़ा है, मैंने ये YouTube पे देखा है. अरे सर YouTube का जो learning था, it was for your knowledge, your information, add value to your knowledge. Please do not become a coach. Please do not become a dietitian. Or whatever, wherever you're going, that person is empowered. Whosoever, when you're visiting, listen, observe, think. If you have questions, ask. And then if you feel yet something is not wrong, then maybe you have the right to evaluate. But I yet feel I have no right to evaluate anybody. I should only limit myself. ये ठीक नहीं हुआ, देखते हैं अगले टाइम बात करके क्या हो रहा है. Is something what I feel. There is a midway.
Yeah. Well, very beautifully. And that brings us to the next. How do we observe? Seeing, hearing, touching, right? Any other mode of observing? I mean, I couldn't think of anything else. I could think of only these 3. But how do we evaluate? Do we evaluate what is wrong with him and what is wrong with myself? Right? We classify the levels of wrongness with self and others also. He is so wrong. I was so wrong in taking that decision. We are evaluating. And then we classify and judge people. Again, what do you also share? This company is like that only. That's jumping to the evaluation. Comparison might not seem violent, is actually pretty violent, especially when we are comparing ourselves with anyone else, good or bad, either way. Who deserves what? We kind of decide, okay, he is like that, he deserves that in life. So common, and which is so violent for us also and us also. So that brings to this point. Can we refrain from evaluation totally, or shall we refrain from evaluation totally?
Constructive evaluation makes sense. So to give an example, these days, a lot of companies are sending us a CRM form, customer relationship management. Take it from the bank to the car dealer to the hospital, where various places are using these tools. But how many of them are genuinely going through it? Or is one-to-one evaluation more effective than just a generalized form? A question what I keep asking myself. I have quite a number of friends who are working in big companies. अभी 55 है तो सब सीनियर हैं, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट कोई डायरेक्टर बन गया है. तो मैंने पूछा भाई आप लोगों का ये फॉर्म आया, ये आया, वो आया, आप लोग मुझे बोल रहे हो फीडबैक दीजिए, इवैल्यूएट कीजिए हमारी सर्विस कैसी है. So I said, have you ever stepped out of that 25-storied office of yours, जहाँ 25वें माले पे आप 2000 स्क्वायर फुट पे बैठते हो, कभी नीचे आके कस्टमर से बात किया है? Go to Assam, go to Kochi, go to Jodhpur, Indore, Pune, Bhambri, go east, west, north, south. And then see what is happening. Rather than asking you me to evaluate you, you in turn can evaluate yourself. I would do the other way around to be more effective, because how much time do I really have? मैं तो ऐसे ही लिख देता हूँ कुछ भी.
Right, and that's what Marshall says in this book. He says, in this complex world of so many dynamics and so much going on, we tend to evaluate very black and white. And that's what exactly the point you are making. We've got a process of evaluation, and we are evaluating every human based on that process. So what he says, evaluation is fine, but discourage static generalization.
Correct.
Rather, evaluation has to be based on observation specific to time and context.
Absolutely.
So, Chetan, if I add here, like even in my teaching journey, like students, I think all are mixed. No, it's not like, okay, sab koi bahut hi achhe hain ya koi bahut hi bure hain, right? So even I think that some of the students, they are like bahut badmash hai, but they must be having something good in them also, isn't it? So same was with my this thing class also. One of my students, not very good in studies, but yeah, badmashi bhi hai thoda bahut. But then my all other teachers, means all the teachers who were coming to my class to teach, तो वो उन्होंने label कर दिया था उसको. He is like that. He is like that. But I think my understanding about that boy and my personal observation about that boy was that he had a very good trait of helping his friends. मतलब कुछ भी कर देता था वो अपने फ्रेंड्स के लिए, राइट? सो हम कहते हैं ना वो क्लॉक है, कभी बंद भी है तो भी पूरा दिन में वन टाइम एटलीस्ट इट गिव्स द राइट टाइम, इजंट इट? सो व्हेन वी स्टार्ट लेबलिंग दिस हैपेंस लाइक इन स्कूल्स में तो बहुत ही हो जाता है. वन टीचर इफ सेज ये ऐसा है तो वो सबका वही ओपिनियन हो जाएगा. दे विल जस्ट पुट दैट चाइल्ड इन द सेम ब्रैकेट, बट द सेम चाइल्ड used to do anything out of the way for me. It was not that I was his class teacher, वो कुछ भी मतलब कर सकता है, but the point is कि वो जो understanding थी, जो evaluation critical वाला नहीं, he had something good also in him. So someone who can tell that boy, okay, you have this good in yourself also. So that makes him more comfortable with you. That okay, ma'am at least recognizes my this trait also, not just like labeling every just a बाकी सब label कर रहे हैं. She is also labeling me. So I think evaluation बहुत तरह से होता है, and schools में भी ये चीजें बहुत होता है, because and then the student says, अच्छा, if I'm labeled now, I'll show you now. And then it becomes a chain, right? Someone like me who will be considering every aspect of his personality, but सब उतना पेशेंस से नहीं करते हैं. So then that child says कि अब मैं करके ही दिखाता हूँ. But then फिर वही होता था कि अगर रेनू मैम बोलेंगे ना तो then I'll not do. Or if Renu ma'am will say, I'll do this. So this was the faith that student had with me. Ki it was with many of them like that. So this is what my experience is. That evaluation का मतलब ये नहीं कि बस dissect ही कर दो. Evaluation means that okay, it should be like क्या हुआ, क्या नहीं हुआ. Try to understand that and then talk about it. This is what.
Absolutely. So again, and you exactly resonated what even we say in Marshall said in the book. No generalization specific to time and context, and that's what you are highlighting. So now let's practice something. I've got few statements. Let's see each of them. Is it an observation? Is it an evaluation? The first one, he is a lazy man. Is it an observation? Is it an evaluation?
Evaluation.
Evaluation. And how will I put it? If I have to say it in the form of observation, what would that be?
I observe that he takes a lot of time on XYZ tasks or XYZ activities.
Yeah, I've never seen him running in the morning, something like that, which is observation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So second one, a kid who sometimes did things I didn't understand. Observation or evaluation?
Observation.
Observation. Evaluation would be he's a stupid kid, which is pure what Reno you are also mentioning. Labeling, judging, putting a tag. The third one, you are too generous.
Evaluation.
Evaluation. I have seen you always helping others in need. That's an observation. But here again, we are putting a tag. I have never seen my teenage kid being careful while spending.
Evaluation.
Evaluation.
I thought I'm putting an observation. Why do we think it's an evaluation? And I could be wrong.
When you say I have never, it's like exclusive, right? Like this who he is, you're labeling. Rather than saying most of the time, I have not seen my teenage kid. So I think the language is the key here. Making it always, most of the time, or sometimes, versus always and never.
Excellent point on Anushli. And that's how a small word here and there can make a lot of difference. Thanks for that. And the last one, he is a poor player.
Observation.
Evaluation.
Evaluation. The observation could be he did not play well in last 3 matches. He scored less than 15 last 3 matches. Observation.
We have labeled him, no? Like every time he does the same. So that is not the case.
I
That
agree.
might not be. Yeah.
Agree.
Now let's move on to practice NVC quickly while the session is, and this is a picture from my home. I think 10 years back, I searched it from my archive. So let's say I've come back home tired late in the evening and I entered my home, I saw this. What would be my, how would I?
Yeah, on an evaluation perspective, quick reaction is, oh, always the house is kept unclean, which I have seen in many families. But as an observation, this when I'm coming back from office today, I'm seeing that toys, not even being unclean also can be an evaluation. An observation can be toys lying on the floor.
Okay. It can be like my child had a great time with toys today. He or she enjoyed with the toys today. So maybe जब तक वो होगा नहीं, गंदा होगा नहीं, तो तब तक बच्चे enjoy भी कैसे करेंगे? So you just can't have that of, okay, so my kid had a great time with toys today. So this is how we can talk about.
Can I add something here, if you don't mind, to
Sure.
what Renu said? I feel the difference between the toys lying on the floor versus the child had a good time with the toys are two different things. The toys lying on the floor is observation, what I'm observing right now. My story to that is the child would have had a good time playing with these toys.
And that might still sound as evaluation to kid. He might have had angry, he would have spread everything around. That's again an evaluation.
So this is how I have practiced Chetan throughout my life, and I think with my own kids also. मतलब मुझे याद नहीं है आज तक कभी भी मेरे बच्चों ने मुझसे मार खाई है. Not even in school.
But Renu, I tell you, what you shared right now makes lot of sense in terms of positive psychology.
Yes.
Okay.
Always looking at the best story. When you're
Hmm.
trying to create the story in your mind, you're always trying to create the best story, not the
Hmm.
worst story.
Hmm.
But I think in terms of observation,
Okay.
seeing as it is what it is.
Okay.
That's
Got
what
it.
I was saying.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
So now let's take it one step forward. Let's practice NVC using observation, feeling, need not being met, and the request. So if I come home and I want the house to be clean when I'm coming next time, how would I express it? Using those 4 components of NVC. So let's start with observation. What would be my observation? I can start. I see that toys are spread on the carpet. So is that the observation fine?
Right. Yeah.
Then what would be the feeling? How am I feeling looking at that? Irritated? I could feel irritated. What else could I feel?
You feel disappointed maybe because it's not being kept clean. Normally what we expect is tidiness. Okay, cleanliness is थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे हो जाता है जब बच्चे हैं घर पे तो होना ही होना है. But at the end of the day, that tidiness is expected. So at the end of the day, because you're coming tired and you expect that to be in order so that you come home, relax, you feel good, that feel good factor is expected. That would be the basic what one would need. अगर यहाँ वहाँ कुछ पड़ा होगा तो हम लोग भी I also come home and अगर ये नहीं हुआ तो मैं पहले ये क्या है यार सब यहाँ वहाँ फेंका हुआ है क्यों क्या बात है मेहमान आके गए क्या या whatever, you know, typical questions. Or didn't you get time to clean it? Or otherwise, the last option which I have learned in the last 10 years, come home, चुपचाप सब सामान रख दो और सब यहाँ वहाँ होगा तो खुद ही चालू करो खत्म करो. तो अभी नया एक ऑब्जर्वेशन आ गया है, आप घर में आने के बाद आपका शुरू हो जाता है. तो मैंने कहा किया तो भी प्रॉब्लम, नहीं किया तो भी प्रॉब्लम है, अजीब चक्कर है.
And Marshall provided a list of, because even when I was going through the book, I felt that, okay, if I'm disappointed, that's a feeling. He said that's not a feeling. Feelings are the basic needs of human which have to be met. So feeling sad is a feeling. Feeling irritated is a feeling. So yeah, but it could be any of these, right? Preeti, you would like to share something? Okay, we'll move forward. So then observation, the toys are spread out. Maybe I'm feeling irritated. Then what need of mine is not being met? So observation, feeling, and the need.
I think cleanliness, I keep on priority. So, and a request then next time, please make it a point that this is not done.
Absolutely, absolutely. Instead of coming, you always create a chaos in home. You are useless. Instead of it, we are saying, I observe that toys are spread out, which irritate me, which make me feel, which you know, and which kind of contradicts with my need of having a tidy house. So I would request please to arrange back the toys after you've played for the day.
Yeah. It also happens like with teenagers when they come late and they don't even inform their parents at home. And that time also immediately as they enter in, the parents are ready with their pura wala bang ki kahan the abhi tak bataya kyun nahi, phone nahi kar sakte. But again, if we just have it in a way that I was concerned about you, it would have been better if you would have informed me just by telephonically, because I am concerned about you and conclude that, okay, next time I would request you that next time, whenever you are getting late, please drop a message or call me. So this is how all the, I think, 4 steps they are covered in
Absolutely.
this also.
Absolutely,
Right.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of it. Thank you so much, all of you. I think it has been very engaging, very learning experience for me also. So thank you.
Thank you, Chetan. Thank you, everybody, for participating. And thank you to Suresh also, who has, I think, dropped off. So maybe because of class. So thanks to everybody present here. Chetan,
Thank
keep doing
Thanks,
such
Suresh.
sessions.
Sure, I'm looking forward to your session also.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks,
Bye.
Preeti.
Okay.
Bye all.
Bye, Uday. Bye, Preeti.
Bye. Thanks.